Welcome back, my enlightened ones. Nice to see you all. Thank you for coming by and stopping by my channel. And if you're new here, glad you stumbled upon us. So how is everybody tonight? Let me jump over the comments real quick. We have Shane in here, Aaron's Picks, we got Jasmine, we got Julie. I'm not sure if Carrie's in here. Carrie, Julie, let me know if Carrie's in here. Hello, Carrie, in case you are. Sarah's in here. Hello, Sarah. And a shout out to Brandon Bagley. That's Sarah's boyfriend. Tonight is his birthday. Happy birthday. So anyway, I'm so glad that you guys are here tonight. Is the music okay? Can you guys hear me okay? Can you just let me know? Give me a thumbs up and we'll sit here and wait. So February. What is February about? February is about purification. The Romans, back in the Roman days, they didn't do such good things all the time, and they figured, hey, let's add February, another month, and this will be the purification month, so we don't burn in hell. So anyway, you can hear me. Thank you, Jasmine, for letting me know. So anyway, again, thanks for stumbling along my channel. If you're new here, if you can just like this video, I'm trying to get my content out there to everybody. And I'm so happy to have you guys here. I even did my nails red for you for the month of February. So derived from the Latin word februm, which means purification. The purification ritual held on the 15th, the full moon, back in the day, of February in the old lunar calendar. January and February were the last 2 months added to the Roman calendar. Okay, we won't find out why. They weren't so good. Just kidding. Since the Romans considered winter months a monthless period, the months were added to by Numa Pompilius. That's a name. Numa Pompilius, okay, he in 713 BC. Okay, my eyes see, my brain sees, my mouth says different. Okay, so 713 BC. February remained the last month of the calendar year until the time of, here we go, Decemvirus. Decemvirus, Decemvirus, I guess, who was part, Decemvirus was part of a 10-man magistrate who commissioned laws in Rome in 451 BC. So February was then 23 to 24 days long, not 28, not 27 as we know it. It's called intercalary month or intercalaris, which means adding days or a month to the calendar. They can't do that anymore because it's going to mess up the cycles of the seasons. So can't do that. All right. So anyway, so occasionally they were inserted immediately after February to realign the year of the seasons, as I said. So this is quite perfect to have this class, and the reason why I'm going to say that is that we have a full moon in the month of February, which is going to happen on the 5th of February in 3 days. Okay, I actually have linked this below in the description how it affects you astrologically. So later on, if you want to go down and see what the full moon of February, which is the snow moon, is about, how it affects you. It's actually about argumentation this month, couples arguing, so be prepared to fight. Okay, but I have linked it below in the description if you want to check it out later and just to see astrologically what the full moon is about. Okay, like I said, Sunday, February 5th, this Sunday, we're going to have a full moon in February, and it will not happen again for 19 years. This is really an amazing event, guys. 19 years, you will not have another full moon in the month of February. So, welcome, Penny. You waiting to see orbs? They actually, I had a big, huge blue one over here, and it went up really slow like this right before class. Go figure. All right. So in Old English, February was called, here we go, I'm going to mess up words, so forgive, Salmoneth, which means mud month, or Kalemaneth, which also means kale or cabbage month. This is the month of cabbage. In Finnish, the month is called Helmikuu. Helmikuu. The mating month of the pearl. When the snow melts on the tree branches, it forms droplets of water. When they refreeze again, they form ice pearls. So this is why it's known as Pearl of the Month. So I thought that was quite interesting. So the moon of February is the snow moon, as I said. The flowers represented in this month are violet, purple violets, and also the purple iris, also known as the blue flag. The Tuatha De Danann. Hey, isn't that funny how that works? Okay, the birthstone of February is Jasmine's favorite, amethyst. Yes. The ancient Greeks believed that amethyst protected the wearer from drunkenness. So if you're going to go out partying, wear amethyst. That way you won't get drunk. Let's see how that works. Okay. Zodiac is Aquarius till February 18th, and Pisces February 19th onwards. Animal is the tiger in the Chinese zodiac. Rawr. Okay. February is named after purification ritual, February. Okay. Which was sort of an early Roman spring cleansing festival. Adam, you're not forgiven. Be faster on the responses. You're psychic. You should know what I'm going to say. No worries. I think there's like a 10-second delay for you guys. So here we go. Februalia. That's a hard one to say. Also, you know what? I'm being bad here because I have a couple banners to show you. I haven't even started yet. So here is the month of February. Hello, February. Welcome, welcome, welcome. February means to purify. Pagan calendar month of February. February gets its name from the word February, meaning to purify. This is likely due to the fact that February was the traditional month of cleansing in Rome when people repented from holiday excesses. So they party, debauchery, adultery, all the otheries, and they figured, hey, we need another month to get over this crap. So that's kind of interesting. All right. February also, Februario, wow, was the Roman festival of ritual purification, later incorporated into Lupercalia. Now, if you notice up in this corner of the screen, I have a wolf here. Lupercalia means wolf, okay? Now, I'm going to explain just a quick thing here. I'm going to jump right down to, because I'm going to forget to explain this later. Okay, so Lupercalia, this is Romulus, which is the emperor of Rome. That is him, and his brother Remus, that are actually under the wolf. When they were babies, okay, it's a Vesta, one of the Vesta virgins gave birth to them. That's a no-no. So they took the babies and put them up in a cave. Okay, I believe it's called Lupercalia, I believe is the name of the cave. To one of the deaths that they used to do back then was exposure. So they put the babies in the cave with the hopes that the exposure of them, they would freeze and starve and die. Well, lo and behold, a wolf came in that was actually lactating, and she fed the babies and she raised them, which is the story behind them. So Lupercalia, that's why I have the wolf there in the corner, which is another celebration as well in February. So it's been later, Februalia turned to become Lupercalia. The festival, which is basically one of spring washing and cleansing in ancient and possibly a Sabine origin. So the Sabines also too might have laid a hand in this. February is a Latin word which refers to, as I said, purification, derives from the Etruscan word referring to purging. And I'm going to mention a fever here too, okay? So, febris in Latin means fever. These are possibly connected with the sweating of fevers, which was considered a purgative washing and purification process. So when you get sick, you know how you have a couple nights of really heavy sweating? That's your body purging out toxins and germs and so forth to purify your body again. So that kind of ties into this too, which I thought was kind of interesting. Due to the sweating commonly seen and associated with fevers. The Roman month Februarius is named for Februar or Februario festival, okay? There is a god, Februarus, here he is, okay, whose name means purifier, was the god of purification. February is not named after him, and I want to point this out, okay? He was actually named after the holiday, so I thought that was kind of interesting. Okay. The holiday occurs between the 13th and the 15th days on the Roman month calendar, and we will be discussing the calendar momentarily. A later Roman god, Februarus, here he is again, woohoo! Okay. Personified both the month and also purification of this month, and is named for him in Fawn. That is not true. Fawn, which I want to point out here, which is they believe is another form of him. So let me go back here. Februarus is an ancient Italic god of purifications who was worshipped by both the Romans and Etruscans. He was also worshipped as the god of the underworld by the Etruscans. For them, Februarus was also the god of riches, money, and gold, and death, both connected loosely to the underworld and the name natural manners as with the better known Roman god Pluto. And I want to say here, he is tied to Hades. Hades, yes, oh my God, it's hell and blah, blah, blah. It's actually a part of hell. It's considered the underworld. It's not actually part of hell. Tartarus, which is the deepest depths, it's the deepest part of hell. This is where I send things to when I banish them. That is another part of where Hades rules. Hades he actually works with Hecate. You've heard me mention Hecate. Hecate will bring lost souls down to Hades if these souls are purified and perfect to go up to where they need to go. They are held down with Hades. Cerberus, the three-headed dog, is in charge of that gate, by the way. And sometimes I have seen Hecate with Cerberus, so that's kind of crazy. So I did want to mention to you, too, Happy and Bulk. Today is actually Candlemas, so happy Candlemas. But I did want to mention, too, I did mention to you that I did do a meditation with Bridget last week. And I forgot to mention it at the end of the class, and I'm going to tell you what happened. I was actually swimming, all right, in the moon. Okay, that was my meditation. And I was told, what did they call it? They called it the lake of, oh my God, now I forgot it, Serenity. The Lake of Serenity, I think that's what it's called on the moon. Actually, I heard that in my head. It was echoing in my head. It was coming out of my meditation. And Bridget is one of the goddesses of the moon. And believe it or not, June 28th, I am a moon child. So that is my planet. So, or not actually a planet, but you know what I'm saying. So I just thought that was kind of crazy that I was actually swimming in the Tranquility. That's what it is. The Lake of Tranquility. I was actually swimming in that. So they were purifying me with the energies of the moon. So I thought that was kind of cool. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that. Okay. So they actually, Februarus, okay. This, I have to say, this is one of the hardest classes because every time I would find a piece to go with the class, it had all these loose ends coming off. So I'm kind of trying to tie up these little loose ends. I actually I did the class a week previous. And I actually worked on it again for another 8 hours the other day because I was trying to get this information in the right order, in the way things happened. And like I said, I had all these branches coming off. So anyway, Februaris, he actually does work with Hades. In case you didn't know, Zeus, I do automatic writings with Zeus. I know it sounds crazy, but he is one of the main characters I do talk to. Hades is his brother. Yes. Okay, as Poseidon is also his brother. His brother rules over the sea. Hades rules over the underworld. Zeus rules over the sky. So anyway, it's just crazy how it all ties together. And that's what I'm saying. Don't get caught up in the Greek mythology because and think it's all fairy tales, because I have crazy automatic writings that would blow your socks off, guys. Just insane stuff. I've shared it with Sarah. She can testify to this. Anyway, but people already think I'm crazy, so I don't share too much. So Februaris, they actually thought that he was another form, and this is where my class drags right here, a form of faun, okay? Faun, these purification activities occurred at about the same time as Lupercalia, a Roman festival to honor Faunus, and also the wolf who nursed Romulus and Remus, during which expiatory sacrifices and ritual purifications were also performed. Because of the coincidence, the two gods Faunus and Februaris were often considered the same deity. Now, Faun, believe it or not, is another form of Pan, and that will be another class. He is a pagan god. He is of fertility, of course. Everything has to do, if you notice, is with fertility or protection. And tonight's class is about those two things, so that's kind of crazy. Here we go again. So Pan is another form of Faun, and as I said, that will be another class, and he's actually a good character, and he is part of the Tuathanadonan as well. So that's kind of crazy. So, as I said, Februaris, my mind goes so fast and my mouth doesn't go fast enough. Februaris personified both the month and also purification of the month. As I said, it is not named after him. Faun is also considered to be Pan, a pagan deity of February, possibly the same god, and this is why I've tied them into here. I was getting actually a headache over this because I was just going back and forth with it, and I actually had to do a couple automatic writings to get this stuff straight. So, all right, so the ancient Roman had a festival for nearly everything, and if you were a god, you almost always got your own holiday. Yes. Okay, so this is Februalia, or also too known as Lupercalia. So they would actually do sacrifices and all these lovely things, which we'll get into in a moment. I'm just going to jump back to chat because I'm just rambling on. Julie, Adam, Shane, Jasmine, and I believe Carrie's in here. Hey, Chris. Welcome aboard, Chris. Glad to have you. I'm glad you sneaked on over. Awesome. Okay. So Februalia is a long period, but if you were a wealthy Roman who didn't have to go to work, you could literally spend the entire month of February in prayer and in meditation, atoning your misdeeds during the other 11 months of the year. So once upon a time, we only had 10 months in a year. It was not 12. They were added. These 2 months were added for purification because apparently they did such bad things. They felt they needed another 2 months to beat themselves. It's senseless. Yeah, you'll be learning about the lupercy in a minute. All right. The February month is a long period of sacrifice and atonement involving offerings and gods and prayers. Okay. Februalia. Okay, this is actually Vestal Virgins. You've heard me mention them. They are going to be mentioned again tonight because this is all tied. And this is also going to tie over to Bridget in here in a minute from last week's class, which is kind of crazy. Because of the association with the fire as a method of purification, Februalia eventually became associated with the Vestal Virgins. Vesta, which is the head of the Vestal Virgins. Okay, they're named after her. A hearth goddess, much like the Celtic Bridgets. Here is Vesta. There she is. Cicero was a Roman statesman, lawyer, scholar, philosopher who wrote that the name Vesta comes from the Greeks, who called her Hestia. That will be another class as well. One of the Vestal Virgins, Hestia. Hestia is actually, I believe, Zeus's sister. He married her, yes. Because her power extended over altars and hearths, all prayers or all sacrifices ended with Vesta and the Vestal Virgins. Yes, those virgins. Vestals who allowed the sacred fire to go out, just like Bridget had a sacred fire that burned for how many years? 500, not producing ash. Well, the Vesta Virgins also did the same thing, okay? So they allowed the sacred fire to burn on. If they allowed it to go out, they were punished with whippings. Now, this I don't understand because it was against their religion to spill the blood of a virgin. So if they let the fire go out and then they beat them with whips, wouldn't that make them bleed? So I'm a little concerned there. So I guess it depends on what they actually did. Vestas who lost their chastity were guilty of incestum. And I believe this is where incest comes from. Incestrum. And were sentenced to a living burial. Yes, see, they can't spill the blood of them, so what they would do is dig a damn hole and throw them in and start burying them alive. I don't want to go that way. Thank you very much. All right. They were sentenced to a living burial, a bloodless death. A virgin's blood may not spill, as I said. Their sexual partners, if known, were publicly beaten to death. These were very rare events. Most Vestals retired with a generous pension after 30 years in the universal respect. Now remember, with Bridget, okay, we'll pretend this is Bridget here. Okay, now remember with Bridget, they dedicated themselves to Bridget for 30 years. They studied, and then when they were done, they were free to get married, but most of them chose to stay and live a life on with Bridget. It's the same thing that's going on here, guys. 30 years with universal respect. They were then free to marry, though few of them did. Some appear to have renewed their vows to Vesta until their death. And again, this is Vesta. Okay. The Vestals took turns to supervise Vesta's hearth, tending the fire that burned. So at least one Vesta Virgin was stationed at the fire at all times. You can't let that flame go out. Now, this is where the Vestal Virgins go away. In 3, wow, when it comes to numbers, my brain just doesn't work. In 382 AD, the Christian emperor Gratian confiscated the public revenues assigned to the cult of the Vesta in Rome, and the Vestals vanished from history record soon thereafter. So basically, they taxed the crap out of them, and when they couldn't give them the money, they kicked them to the curb. All right, so I'm going to take a break there. How is everybody tonight? I want to know. Is everybody good? Everybody have a good in bulk? Everybody safe? Yay! I just want to point out, too, my mom had a cardio appointment today. She is free and clear to start driving. She is 100%. She still has a little air bubble in her lung that we're dealing with. It's about the size of an orange, actually. But with the Reiki and the prana work I'm doing on her, she's fantastic. So, yay! Just had to share that. So I hope everybody's awesome. I'm going to jump back to the class here. Thanks. All right. So the month of February is called these purification things because the Lupercalia, and I'm going to show you the Lupercalia here. Let's see here. These things that they're holding in their hands, that they're whipping people with, these are called Lupercalias, okay? They are made from animal hides, and it's believed if they beat the ground and they beat the people. Did you ever see a movie? I believe, actually, the Red Dragon, he did it. He was scourging himself. He was beating his back. He was whipping himself. It's a form of purification when you do something wrong. They believe through pain and suffering, it washes away the sin. So that's kind of crazy too. The other thing I want to point out too, if you think about it, our grandparents and great grandparents, and how did they used to spank us with either a rod, a switch, a stick, or a belt. A belt is made of what? Leather. The Lupercalia is made of what? Leather. I wonder if there's a connection there. It's kind of interesting. I'm just throwing that out there, but these are the things that they used to beat you with. Here they are again. This is Februaris. Okay. So anyway, so the Lupercalia purified the whole ground with strips of hide, which are their instruments for cleansing. The Lupercalia was also known as dyes of Februaris in the Lupercalia. Okay, this is this festival here. Here they are again. The women, they would actually beat the women because they believed that it would create fertility. Now, if you think back to my Krampus class, they used to go around and hit people with the birch rods. The birch rods, again, if they hit women, it was fertility. So you can see where the pagans kind of were. They were horny and they were about protection. So those are the two things that they actually focused on, was purification and fertility. And something just shot by over here. Interesting. You guys can come out and say hello to everybody. All right, so the Lupercalia was also known as the dyes of Februaris after the purification instruments called Februara, the basis of the month named Februarius. Wow. Okay. The name Lupercalia was believed in antiquity to evince some connection with the ancient Greek festival of Arcadia Lycia, also known as the Wolf Festival. That's why my wolf is up here in the corner. Okay. Also known Latin as in lupus. Now, there's a disease called lupus. I wonder if that kind of ties into that. I didn't get that far because I was too busy trying to rearrange everything. They worship the Lycian Pan. Oh, something just shot up over here. Oh, and there's one above my head right now. They're coming in. They're saying hi to you guys. That's awesome. You guys can come closer and get in front of my camera if you want. It's all good. You are always welcome here, my beautiful babies. All right. So assumed to be a Greek equivalent to Faunus, as I said, Pan and Faunus. I'm going to show you this one. Lupercalia was a pastoral festival of ancient Rome observed annually on February 15th to purify the city, promoting health and fertility. Lupercalia was also known as Dies Februaris. Wow, I can't say these words. Februatus. After the purification instruments called Februara they're also called the Lupercalia. There we go. Ugh. So depending what holiday and where you are. The basis for the month name Februarius. The festival was originally known as Februara, purification or purgings while the Februum, which was used on that day. So that's kind of interesting. This celebration involved, as I said, animal sacrifices, fertility rituals, love lottery. Yes, the males would pick and draw women's names for lottery. So women didn't have much say back then. but was also a time of feasting and overall debauchery. More debauchery. Thought we were trying to get rid of the debauchery. Huh. Over time, this festival evolved and transformed into celebration focused on fertility, health, and childbirth. So I guess they decided, you know what, 11 months out of the year is just too much. Too much debauchery. But you know what? They're fine because they have that amethyst crystal, so no drunkenness here. I'm sorry. I like to have fun. The actual rituals are a bit mysterious. There was evidence of women's rituals whipping to encourage fertility, as you see here in this picture. Many of the traditions of Lupercalia would be incorporated for modern witches. Would be inappropriate for modern witches, such as the ritual of sacrifices. And as I said, they've taken the word sacrifice in Wicca, okay, and turned it to the word libation. Libation is giving of the harvest, of giving of something that maybe it's an effigy, which is something that you make in a form of a god, like we did the other day with the Bridget dolly. It's representing Bridget. So I believe you can give small. Back in the day of the pagans, they believed by giving sacrifices, the crops would grow higher, they would have more abundance. So by making the sacrifices, because the education wasn't strong back then, and they didn't know that you don't have to go around and kill things and do all these things. So anyway, the festival known as Februalia was held near the end of the Roman calendar. I'm going to show you the Roman calendar. Here it is. So as you can see, there is 3 zodiacs on each side. I'm Cancer. That's me right there on the corner. So anyway, and of course, there's 4 sides. 3 times 4 is what? 12. Okay. The festival known as February was held near the end of the Roman calendar year, and to understand how the holiday changed over time, it helps a bit to know about the calendar's history. I'm not going to draw this out and be long because I can do a whole class on the Roman calendar, and it's just too much. So I'm going to break it down for you and try to make it more simple, like me. Originally, the Roman year had only 10 months, as I said earlier. They counted out 10 months between March and December. March was actually the beginning of the Roman calendar once upon a time, March 1st. That was New Year's Day. But later in 153 BCE, the beginning of the year was moved to January 1st. So I thought that was kind of interesting there. So they counted out 10 months between March and December and basically disregarded the dead months. Winter was considered the dead months, okay? January and February. Later, the Etruscans came along and added these 2 months back into the equation. In fact, they planned to make January the first month, but the expulsion of the Etruscans dynasty prevented this from happening. So March 1st was considered. Whoa, something just went in front of my face. Did you see that? It just went this way. Sorry, it was bad timing. So as I said, March 1st was the New Year's, and considered the first day of the year. February was dedicated to Februaris, and actually it's not. February is named after the celebration. Februalia. Februaris actually was named after the holiday, and his name does mean purification. So that was interesting. So I had to, like I said, I had to go back and forth with that. I got a real headache on that one because it was the month in which Rome was purified by making offerings and sacrifices to the gods of the dead. Februaris he represents the gods of the dead, okay? Because of the association with fire as a method of purification, at some point, the celebration Februalia became associated with Vesta and the hearth goddess, much like the Celtic Bridget, as I said earlier. Not only that, February 2nd is also considered the day of Juno. It's, okay, this is Juno. the mother of God, Mars. Okay. Um, I just put up a class later on in February. It's after my Valentine's class, which is next week. And it's about Helios, which is the consciousness of the sun. I'm trying to make a point that there's a consciousness to everything, including stars and suns and so forth and so on. And as you run into Mars and Pluto and all these other beings, it's just really crazy. This stuff is it's real. There's consciousness to it. You can actually meditate and commune with them. It's just crazy. Also known as Candlemas in Catholicism. This is the Holy Family celebration today. I have to show you the Holy Family. Here they are. Joseph, Mary, and Jesus. Okay, so again, this is a celebration of them. As I said, the Catholics took Invoke, which is the first, and let's make Candlemas February 2nd, which is the purification again, the celebration of the Holy Family. Understanding the Roman calendar. Before Julius Caesar's calendar reformed in 450 BC, February was the only month, with an even number of days. All the rest are 29 to 31. Think about it. Okay, February is the only month that has equal days, or even numbered days. Under the reforms of Julius Caesar instituted, he inserted intercalaris. This is when you add a day or a month. Okay, that's the word that means that, to harmonize it with the solar year, adding 29 days on the leap year. Leap years occurred regularly every 4 years. Okay. Celebrating Februalia today. Do you want to jump back over? Orb alert. Okay, Penny saw orbs. Adam's woofing over here. Oh! Okay, my little lovely beings of light. We'd like to see you. Please come in tonight. Wow. So this is kind of crazy. How, if you think about it, how far we've come and how things have changed, and that we were only a 10-month year and now we're a 12-month year. And so if you're a modern pagan who would like to observe Februalia as part of your spiritual journey, there are a number of ways you can do so. Consider this time of purging and cleansing. I actually do a lot of purging on myself. I will actually go days without eating. It's just, I've always been this way. I think it's just part of my DNA, to be honest with you. But I will purge. Oh, something just went right up here. I will actually purge for a few days, especially if I have to do an exorcism on somebody, or if I have to do a land cleansing. I will purge myself for 3 days. You can do a pre-spring cleaning where you get rid of all the things that no longer bring you joy and happiness. Yes, I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about things in your home. Okay, so things that don't bring you happiness, take out with the old. With the new approach, eliminate the excess of stuff that's cluttering your life, both physically and emotionally. Again, maybe it is people. If you're someone who has a hard time letting go of things, rather just throwing your stuff out, rehome it to friends. That's a great idea. I'm the rehomer. Everybody sends their stuff to me. I collect a lot of stuff. My friend Mike likes to give me a lot of stuff, and it's nice because I actually incorporate it into my classes. The basket, the Bridget basket you saw the other day, that was given to me by Shane. That actually used to be his mother's basket. So that has some sentimental value there too. So I consider everything that everybody gives to me, I'm honored. That's just the shaman in me. So you can also take some time to honor the goddess Vesta. And my beautiful Vesta, where are you? Wrong screen. Okay, Vesta, where are you? Oh my God, I have so many. There we go. So there's our beautiful Vesta. You can take time to honor her in the role as the deity of home, hearth, and domestic life as a way of celebrating Februalia. Make offerings of wine, honey, milk, olive oil, because virgin olive oil, or fresh fruit as you begin rituals. Light a fire in Vester's honor. And if you can't light a fire, you can also do and burn a candle. That is quite, just taken down so you guys can see things. That is quite fine, just to burn a candle. It's okay to keep the candle burning to celebrate Vesta. Just be sure to extinguish it when you're finished. But again, we're the enlightened ones. We already knew that. Spend time on domestic crafts such as cooking, baking, weaving, needle arts, and woodworking. Forging. Let's do forging. Okay. So basically, the month of February is about purification, fertility, to kind of honor Romulus and Remus, which were left to die in a cave. When I do the story of Zeus, which I will be doing, which is a crazy story about his father eating his children and how Zeus saved them, it's just really crazy how this all just, whether you believe it or not, there's a story there and there's always some truth behind it somewhere. So that's just kind of crazy stuff there. So again, the Roman calendar. In the 700 BCE, the second king of Rome, Numa Pompilius, changed that, adding January and February to the end of the calendar in order to conform how long it actually takes the Earth to go around the sun. The two new months were both originally 28 days long. It is lost to history why January acquired more days, though there are various unverified hypotheses. So it's really hard to get the really hard facts on all these things of what's going on. I just want to go over a couple more things on the month of February, the overview of the month. The month of February is dedicated to the Holy Family, as I said. Here they are. God bless. This year, the first 16 days of February fall during the, oh my God, these words, liturgical seasons, I can't, known as the ordinary time, which is represented by the color green, hence the green color around my name there in the corner over here, green. Okay, green is a symbol of hope, is the color of sprouting seeds, and arouses in the faithful the hope of reaping the eternal harvest of heaven, especially the hope of the glorious resurrection. The remaining days of February are the beginning of Lent. The color changes to purple at the end of the month. This is where your iris comes in, a symbol of penance, mortification, and the sorrow of the contrite heart. The contrite heart. The feast of the general Roman calendar celebrated during the month of February goes as this. Presentation of the Lord, which is the feast of February 2nd, which is today. Feast of the Purification of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Okay, it goes through February 11th, starts at Candlemas, which is today. I'm not going to go through every single one of these because some of these I'm not sure quite what they are. Agatha, the Memorial Feast of Saint Agatha. This is kind of important. She's the patron saint of breast cancer patients, so she's kind of important there. Let's see. Paul, Nikki, and Companions, Memorial Roman Catholic, Japanese Jesuits. Martyr and Saint, one of the 26 martyrs of Japan. Fifth Sunday of Ordinary Time. Sunday reminder, you and I are the light of the world. We are the city set on a hill, a lamp set to stand to give light in all in the house. And this is what we are. When I say to you guys, shine, 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 that's the light I'm talking about. That's that God light. It works through your heart chakra, your third eye. Jesus Christ, and I'm not a Bible thumper, so please know this, but Jesus Christ talks about the God light being on. He's actually talking about your pineal gland. The Egyptians hold it in their hands, and you'll actually see it oh my God. Wow, I'm lacking words tonight. I'm always lacking words. But you will see it in hieroglyphs. Thank you. I just threw the word at me. The hieroglyphs, you'll actually see them holding a pine cone. That's the pineal gland. That's the God's light. But it also, what we're doing, and this is what I'm being told is happening now, we're going from duality. Duality, as you know, is changing right now. And we're going from left brain, right brain to being one, heart-centered, okay? Heart-centered, okay? So when you start living through your heart chakra, and your heart chakra is blown wide open like it is with me. That's why I tell everybody I love them and God bless and everything else. The blessing fairy, not the FU fairy. When your heart chakra is wide open, you're connected. And when you're asking questions and you're lost and you don't know what to do with your life, you're not connected. And this is why I keep preaching to you guys, ground and center yourselves is so, so important. Okay. So just a couple other things I want to mention to you. Let's see. I want to mention, biggest thing of all, Heart Month. My youngest daughter, Hannah, had open heart surgery. And ironically, February 13th, 19 years ago, she had that surgery. So every year I buy her something special for her anniversary. Love you, doctors. Thank you, Vincent. God bless you guys, because I would have a couple people not in my life if it wasn't for these lovely doctors that are present here. So I just want to share this with you. February, blessings. Be present. Let the day flow with grace. Expect joy. Be positive. Serve with compassion. Speak only kindness. Impart only love. Never forget you're not alone. Give thanks to everything and see goodness in others, even if you're going through trauma. And I'm crazy. I'll sit there at a light and I'll see somebody walking by that I feel needs a little love, or just putting that intent and sending it to that person. Play with it in the stores. Seriously, I just bang my ring on the table. Play with it in the stores. It's a lot of fun. I get in a line where there's a lot of people, and I'll pick one person in that line, and they'll be like 10 people away from me, and I'll connect with that person, and I send my energy to that person, and sure than heck, that person will turn around and look at me. Usually will give me a dirty look. Depends if they have a negative attachment with them. Their attachment doesn't like me. Something just over here. Look, it just came right in front of me. It just came right to this arm over here. Did you see this? Right here. It just started from the bed. It was a little tiny fairy, and it just came right over to my arm. That was so cool. So I guess Tawastan Adonin want to thank you for coming and being here with me tonight. Next week's class is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be learning about St. Valentine's and how the first Valentine's card came to be was from St. Valentine's, and how he was a martyr and what they did with his body parts. Anyway, Valentine's next week. I will be painting my face up, so it's worth just coming in to see me look goofy, let alone just hear me be goofy. But I really do love you guys coming in and sharing your time with me. I look forward to my Thursdays. I really do. You guys are blessings to me. I've sent a few gifts out to some very special people, and they are very near and dear to our hearts. And again, thank you. It's you guys help us shine, and I just want to get this content out there. So again, if you can like and subscribe and do what you got to do. So please, next week, be here. I'll be goofy. I'll be painted up, and it's going to be a lot of fun next week. So I'm really looking forward to that with you guys. And thank you all for being here tonight. God bless. Happy Februalia. Say that 3 times fast. Not going to happen. Adam, Vincent, Angie, Julie, Penny, Carrie, Chris. I'm doing this without glasses on. I cannot see. Jasmine, Sarah, Shane, and anybody else that has stumbled by tonight. God bless, many blessings. And I thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next week. And remember, guys, keep shining that light. I love you all. Shine, shine, shine.